The SatsCard is an NFC card that allows you to load and subsequently gift or spend Bitcoin by physically handing the card to an individual. Now, those of you familiar with Coinkite's OpenDime product will see this as a very similar idea, and that's true, but it does have some added benefits in that it is cheaper and it is reusable 10 times over. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to set up, load, and subsequently sweep the SatsCard alongside Nunchuk wallet on mobile. I am Ben with the BTC Sessions, and this is your daily session.
Hodl the Bitcoin.
Quick shout out to sponsors of the show, Coinkite.com. Now, obviously, we're going to be looking at some Coinkite products in this video itself, so I don't really need to give much of a pitch here. You get to basically look at and learn about what they have in store for you on your own here. Nonetheless, I do think Coinkite is super awesome. They've got a ton of great stuff, and if you see anything in this video that you think is worth picking up, you can check out the link down below, and on Coinkite.com you can use code BTC Sessions. You get 5% off everything in the store, and they've got a plethora of stuff going on here. So I'll leave this pitch simple since we're going to be covering Coinkite stuff as it is. Up next, we have Shakepay.com. If you're in Canada, this is a super easy way to be stacking sats. You can e-transfer in and out very simply. There are no deposit or withdrawal fees, including when you withdraw Bitcoin to your own custody. There's a thin spread, and if you sign up with the link down below, after your first $100 purchase, they'll give you $30 for free. You also get $30 every time you recommend somebody with your own link, and they do the same, and they'll get $30 as well. And on top of that, you can then shake your phone every single day for free sats. You can use their SatsBack Visa card. They've got a Shakepay program. They've just got a million different ways to be earning additional Bitcoin. So be sure to check them out. And again, that link is down below if you're interested in that $30. Up next, we've got LEDN.io. You can use your Bitcoin for a ton of different services. These guys have been super useful for me in particular whenever I have a cash flow issue and I need to get my hands on dollars, but maybe I don't want to sell my Bitcoin because taxable events or having to buy back in potentially at a higher price. Well, here I can deposit Bitcoin. I can get a loan of dollars to my bank account within 24 hours. And when I pay back those dollars, I get back the same amount of Bitcoin. They also have Bitcoin and USDC savings accounts to earn interest with quarterly third-party audits in which you can verify that your funds were actually used in that audit, which is great. They also have their B2X offering, Bitcoin-backed mortgages across Canada and soon in some select US states. So overall, again, awesome, great guys there. And you can check them out at start.ledn.io/BTC Sessions. And if you sign up there using that link and fund your account, you get $10 for free. Bitrefill helps me a ton living on Bitcoin. I can purchase any gift cards my little heart desires with Bitcoin, and I can pay both on-chain and via the Lightning Network. You earn sats back as you shop. You get additional sats back with the referral program. You can do other things like topping up your phone. You can get inbound Lightning channels. And if you're in the US, you can actually pay your bills and get on a Bitcoin standard. So check them out. Again, a link is down below. And finally, if you're backing up any important Bitcoin wallet, you're going to want to get it in solid steel. Pieces of paper, honestly, that just don't cut it. You don't want to have to be worrying about fire damage or water damage or other things like that. Well, getting it in solid steel with the BillFodl gives you that peace of mind. This is how I'm backing up my important Bitcoin wallets, and then I never have to worry. So again, check them out. privacypros.io/BTC Sessions will get you a little discount if you want to check them out. And with that, let's dive into the show. So here in some prerequisites, I want to give you a good idea of, again, what this actually achieves, because some people can get a little bit confused about what the SatsCard or the Open Dime for that matter actually accomplishes? Well, if you think about the nature of Bitcoin and you think about how a hardware wallet would work, if you load up a hardware wallet and then you pass that to somebody as payment or a gift, they can take that hardware wallet home, and technically, yes, there are funds allocated to it, but you could have a copy, a backup of that hardware wallet elsewhere, and you could take those funds back at any time you please. That is not true of the SatsCard or the Open Dime. The way it works is that the private key that allows you to unlock the Bitcoin allocated to this card is not revealed until the time that it is actually swept from the card. And you need the card and the code on the back to sweep those funds. So the private key is only ever revealed in the act of sweeping the funds off of the card itself. This means that physically handing the card to somebody means that there's no possible way that you could take those funds back after the fact. So it is a permanent gift or a permanent payment. So you could be doing some sort of a large value payment in which you don't want to be waiting for an on-chain confirmation that's already confirmed and allocated to the card. You can just hand the card to somebody, they can verify it, and they can walk away knowing they have that Bitcoin, and there's no way that you can redeem it afterwards. All right. So this card allows you to do that, but then afterwards, unlike the Open Dime, which once you redeem and sweep the funds off, it's a one-time use, this card allows you to do it 10 times over. So you're going to have the first slot, you load it up with Bitcoin, which you can do as many times as you please, and keep topping it up. And then upon tapping it and using it with an interface on your phone and then sweeping those funds, it will then create a new slot, which is now able to be loaded with new funds and has an entirely different private key. So that means that once again, even though funds have been swept off once, there's a new key managing the next slot, and it can be used all over again, 10 times over. So we're going to be diving in to how to do this. So prerequisites in terms of what you need to know, other than just what it's doing. Helpful if you know your way around Nunchuk wallet. However, I'm going to, be going through enough of it that you should be able to catch the gist, even if you've never used it before. If you do need to learn a little bit about Nunchuk or want to, there is a link in the show notes down below that will take you through everything Nunchuk wallet. I do make reference to the Open Dime. If you're curious about that or how that works, there will be a link for that down below. And I will make reference to the Coldcard, just because I've been using it with Nunchuk wallet. You'll see some accounts in there that are associated with Coldcard, which is NFC as well. I'll link to that tutorial in the show notes too. Outside of that, you might see me use some other Bitcoin wallets on my phone in this video. If so, those will be linked with full tutorials in the show notes as well. So outside of that, as long as you know how to send a Bitcoin transaction, generally, you should be fine. And with that, we can actually dive into setting this thing up. Let's go. Okay, so here we have the SatsCard, and if you turn it over on the back, you're going to see a website up top you can visit called getsatscard.com/start. That's going to give you some general information, FAQs about the SatsCard. You also have a deposit address and QR code. So that is the first slot on the SatsCard. And just a note here, only use it for the first slot. You can use this over and over again to reload as long as you're using the first slot. But once this has been swept, you'll see the next generated address and slot on your wallet on your mobile phone. So don't go back and use this after you've swept slot number one. Up next, you see something that says spend, and there's a little code here. This is your CVC code, basically a PIN that allows you to spend. So you must spend not only by tapping the card, but also by inputting these digits. So somebody just trying to like tap the back of your wallet or something and sweep funds, they're not going to be successful unless they know the PIN as well. Down below, it gives you the version, the date, and the block height at which this card was created. So kind of cool. Now, when you first utilize this card, you can actually just tap it to your phone that has NFC enabled to kind of verify it and make sure that it hasn't been unsealed. So I just tap. It's going to give me a link that's going to open, and I can open it up in my browser. It says, hey, this is verified. I can actually check the address here. First few digits and the last few digits, 9Q5 for the last 3 digits there. And I can see that it is indeed the same. It will let you know the current balance on chain. So I can see 0 sats as of this block, and I can verify that on an external block explorer, blockstream.info. If I tap on that, it'll say, hey, here's the address. There's been no transactions, no deposits, anything like that onto here. So from my phone, I can load this up in a variety of ways, right? I can tap and copy this, and it will give me options of wallets that I can use to send to the receiving address. I can also, if I'm using this for the first time, I can go directly to Nunchuk too. So Nunchuk is the wallet that we'll be using to interact primarily with this wallet in particular. So I'm going to hit Nunchuk. So you can see there's already some keys and wallets in here. If you're curious about, you see my Tapsigner here, you see my Coldcard. If you're curious about some of those, again, I'll link to those down below along with any relevant Nunchuk tutorials. But within Nunchuk, you can just hit the NFC button up top, and it says, hey, it's ready to scan. Just hold your SatsCard to your phone. And it's also going to bring up the same information we just saw on that web interface in our browser. Same address. You can copy the address. You can, now this is what wasn't available on the site, unseal and sweep balance, assuming there is a balance to be swept. Okay. And you can also view in a block explorer like we previously did. The other information up here, we can see it's on slot 1 out of 10. All right. So it actually tells us which slot we're currently using. And yeah, all of our information is right here. So we can actually send to this. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to copy this address into my clipboard, and I'm going to open up Muun wallet here, which is another wallet that I use often. I'm just going to put in my pin off screen here, but I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to hit send. I'm going to paste in the address from my clipboard, and I'm going to send over, say, $25 worth of Bitcoin. Okay, so I hit confirm. We'll say this is going to SatsCard. I'll confirm the note, confirm the fee, and I'll hit send. All right, so that has been sent off now. And I can jump. Oh, and I get a little notification. Wow. So once again, I'm going to tap the NFC. Scan the card. This will show that there's no balance currently, but I can also view in a block explorer. And when I bring it up, it says, hey, there's a balance here. It's unconfirmed though. So we're just waiting for a confirmation on the Bitcoin blockchain. But we can see it's incoming. It's in the mempool. It's ready to go. So we'll jump back to Nunchuk once that is confirmed, and we'll see how we actually utilize that balance. And one other note here, that sound that popped up, that was from the SatsCard site here, and we can now see there's a balance here. Even though it's unconfirmed, it is showing, and it says, hey, we've got this number of sats that are waiting to be confirmed on the Bitcoin blockchain. Gives us an estimate of the dollar value of that. And yeah, so this again can be viewed just by simply tapping. We've now got a confirmation on the actual funds, and we know so by hitting the NFC here, scanning, and we can see again a balance now reflected here, 2510. Everything is all confirmed. And at the bottom, we have the option now to unseal and sweep the balance. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So when I tap this button, it says sweep to a wallet or sweep to an address. So at this point, I can choose a Bitcoin address I want to go to, or if I have a wallet within Nunchuk that I'd like to sweep to, then I can do so. Now, just to take a look, if I say sweep to an address, I would just paste an address here, or I could scan it with my phone by hitting the QR code in the top right, and then I can create the transaction, do the fee settings, all of that. I can also, alternatively, as I said before, so I'm going to sweep to a wallet. I'm going to choose my Tapsigner. Now, again, I've done a video on the Tapsigner. It is another NFC card, not to be confused with the SatsCard. SatsCard is more of a gifting, physical kind of, I'm handing somebody the card as a payment, whereas the Tapsigner is literally what the name implies. You tap to sign a transaction, and you keep this card as a key to your money. Okay, so this is just another account that I have allocated within Nunchuk wallet. So I'm going to choose the Tapsigner here, and I'm going to hit continue to sweep. And that says enter your CVC, which is this code, this 6-digit code on the back of the actual card. So I'm going to put mine in 245554. Hit confirm. It says ready to scan, so it's going to scan the key. All right, sweeping in progress. Pending confirmations, 130 sats, 130,000 sats. You can tap down for more details. Hey, here's all your details. Estimated fee, total amount, change address, which there is no change, obviously it's being swept. And that's pretty much it. It's pending confirmations now. I can view it on a blockchain explorer. It's right there, next block, and it should be into my other wallet. And if we want to check that, actually, I can go to my Tapsigner wallet here within Nunchuk wallet, and I can see 130,000 sats right here, pending confirmations. So pretty soon we should see a balance reflected up top to reflect this being confirmed on the blockchain. And after a couple of minutes, I can now see with it confirmed a balance reflected up top in my Tapsigner, which was, of course, swept off of the SatsCard into another wallet that I control. So now we've effectively loaded this card, subsequently, we'll say, quote unquote, given it to somebody who was then able to sweep the funds off of the card. So that would be the use case there. However, at that point, the person who received the SatsCard isn't out of luck in terms of this. It doesn't go in the garbage. And that would have been the case more or less with something like an OpenDime, right? You can load the OpenDime as many times over as you want. You can top it up over and over and over. But once it is unsealed and the funds are swept, it effectively is no longer something that should be used, right? It's more or less load it up, gift it, or spend it. And once it's unsealed and swept, it goes in the trash. It gets pitched in the bin, okay? Not so with the SatsCard. This can now be reused. We just need to create a new slot, all right? Slot number 1 is done. Slot 2 through 10 are still available. So how do we do that? Well, we're just going to use the NFC function here up in the top right. We're going to hold it to the card. Now it says, no active slot is detected. Do you want to set up a new slot? We're going to say yes, or just so we know, we can hit view unsealed slots. That was the unsealed slot number 1. We can even tap on it, and there's our non-balance that we have. Okay, so we'll do that one more time. Okay, do you want to set up a new slot? We'll say yes. Okay, it says set up chain code. This is going to automatically add some entropy to create a new key. You can do that yourself. I wouldn't recommend that. Just choose automatic here. We'll hit continue. We're going to enter the CVC from the back of the card again, 245554. And we'll hit confirm. It says it's ready to scan the device, so we'll hold it. And there we go. We now have a new address. Make note, this is different from the one on the back. This is a new address that we're now using. The spend code will remain the same. The deposit address has now changed. And you can see up top, slot 2 out of 10. 0 sats allocated to it. This can now be funded. This card, which theoretically would now be in the possession of somebody new who had previously unsealed it, this card can now be used by them. They can now use it to gift somebody else and pay it forward and give somebody else Bitcoin. So the value proposition here versus the Open Dime is, again, a cheaper product that can be used more times than the previous one. Don't get me wrong, I love my Open Dimes. They're pretty badass. I think they're really, really cool and gets people interested. But the SatsCard, in terms of bang for your buck, is pretty damn compelling. So yeah, this can be reused, and then we would go through the same process. We could sweep it, and we could create a new slot up to 10 times with the SatsCard. Now, you might be wondering, what happens if I accidentally send to an unsealed slot? Like, for example, the deposit address on the back of the card when I've already unsealed and swept that. Do I lose those funds? What happens to them? Can I access them some way? Well, awesome part is that Nunchuk has thought this through and figured that, well, that might be the case where somebody accidentally sends funds to an unsealed slot. So let's take a look at what happens when we tap the SatsCard. Off screen, I sent a few dollars to slot number 1 via the QR code on the back of the card, which could be a common mistake that somebody might make. Well, let's see. We'll hit NFC here, scan. Oh, look, a little pop-up. It says, we detected there is 15,000 some odd sats in unsealed slot number 1. Unsealed slots are unsafe. Would you like to sweep it? As a matter of fact, yes, I would. Yes. Where do we want to sweep it? Well, we'll sweep it to a wallet. We'll do it to our Tapsigner again. Continue to sweep. Enter your CVC. So 245554. Confirm. Hold near the device. And off it goes. Sending to my Tapsigner. Again, pending confirmations. I can view it on a block explorer. But nonetheless, my SatsCard has been swept. I get the notification there, and I see the incoming transaction here in my Tapsigner. So again, you don't want to send to an unsealed slot, aka this address on the back of the card once it's been unsealed. But if you do accidentally, the first tap into Nunchuk wallet will inform you, hey, there's funds sitting in an insecure slot. Let's sweep them out. And you can go ahead and do that while still having access to the current slot that is sealed. You'll still have access to that, of course, as well. So some final thoughts here on the SatsCard. Number 1, super easy to use. Tapping, loading, sweeping, all of it, especially dealing with Nunchuk wallet, was an absolute breeze. Couldn't be simpler. Furthermore, I like the value proposition here in comparison to the Open Dime. Now, don't get me wrong. I love my Open Dimes. They're super badass. They're really cool. A great talking piece, a great way to gift people Bitcoin. Very unique. But in terms of bang for your buck, hard to argue with the cost of something like the SatsCard versus the Open Dime. So SatsCard, depending on the design that you get, probably about half the price of an Open Dime, maybe a little bit less depending. And on top of that, Open Dime, 1-time use, SatsCard, 10 times use. So, you know, a lot more bang for your buck using the NFC card. I do still think the Open Dime has its place. It is a very unique way to gift Bitcoin to people. I really like that. I think maybe for higher value gifts, Open Dime is a good option. But the SatsCard, again, super easy, super cheap, kind of can't be beat. So depending on your flavor, both have their place. Regarding the sending to an unsealed slot, which I think could be a common occurrence with the address on the back. I think for myself, what I might get in the habit of doing is once I've unsealed the first slot, once I've unsealed the first slot, if I have one of these, then I might write over top of the address on the back, just so somebody doesn't, that may not understand, doesn't accidentally start using that address in an unsealed slot. I think that's probably a good practice. Of course, the spend CVC code remains the same, so that's that. But it's great to know that regardless of if somebody does send to that address, they can subsequently sweep it afterwards. The last thing I wanted to mention is a lot of people have questions regarding, well, how do I know that these addresses and these keys are being generated securely with entropy, that Coinkite doesn't have a copy of these? There's a really great FAQ on their website that deals with all of this. It basically asks all the questions that you may have in and around that, especially in regards to what can this be used for. So it talks about, hey, what are the use cases for this? I think, again, gifting is probably one of the top use cases, but also buying maybe a high ticket item where you don't want to be sitting around waiting for confirmations. The confirmation has already taken place because it's allocated to the card, and there's no way that you can take the money back after the fact. So easy way to do a quick transaction physically. Again, lots of answers here regarding private key issuance, the entropy involved. All of that stuff here is very, very useful and well addressed. So if you're curious about the key generation process on the SatsCard, go visit the FAQ. I will have it linked down below. It's very informative. So nonetheless, thoroughly enjoy the SatsCard. Thought it was a lot of fun. Think it's a great way to gift people Bitcoin. And the price point, I don't know, in my opinion, can't be beat. So nonetheless, check it out. Let me know what you thought about the SatsCard. Leave a comment down below. And give it a try. Let me know what you think. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, please do like, subscribe, share. All those things are super helpful and they help get this content in front of more eyeballs. If you want to help the show in another way, you can hit up the previously mentioned sponsors in the show notes down below. Coinkite is down there, so if you want to pick up anything you saw in this video, down there. You can also hit up Shakepay, LEDN, Bitrefill, and BillFodl. Now, if you find that perhaps you need a little bit more of a helping hand along the way, I am available for one-on-one Zoom sessions. If you want a little bit more assistance, you can check that out on my website, btcsessions.ca, or alternatively, you can see if I'm running a workshop in your city, as I do from time to time, so check out my schedule there. And finally, if you really liked what you saw, you can always drop me a Bitcoin tip at my Strike page, strike.me/BTC Sessions. Get there, type in any amount you want, hit the tip button. You'll be greeted with a Lightning invoice, or if you prefer, tap to the right, you'll see a regular Bitcoin QR code. With that, I'm out. Have yourselves a wonderful day or evening. See you guys next time for your daily session.
Hodl the Bitcoin.